Good morning. Let me tell you guys, let me see, about my week. So, it started off a little rough, right? So I went back to work on Thursday and I was so emotional, like, like real crybaby-ish. Just thinking about stuff would make me cry, reflecting on different things would make me cry. So before I was going to my patient's room, like it just happened. Like my eyes started building up. And so I tried to go back like this so that the tears wouldn't fall out. But they came rushing down, so I had to get some tissue and I used my jacket and blah, blah, blah. So I had a guy that had got admitted like maybe 3 o'clock that morning. And so they didn't finish all the admittance. I had to, finish that. And he ended up being really nice. His name was Pilar, like Deion Sanders' ex-wife name. And I thought that was, weird. But anyway, so I dealt with him, but I went on to the next room, 30, and there was a little cute little lady, cute little Hispanic lady. I didn't even realize she was that old. She was 60, she's 66 years old. But she was there with us for AKI. They had found a mass on her kidney. Anyway, she ended up having a complete hysterectomy. And so she still had her staples in her stomach and everything. And she's the prettiest little petite little woman. I want to be tiny when I get old. I don't want to be big and fat. I just don't. But nevertheless, I was like, oh my God, you're so cute. And I told you, just forgive me if I say something wrong or if a tear falls down my eye. I said, I'm going to do my best to be professional. I said, but please forgive me if if my emotions get the best of me today, because I was feeling emotional, I guess. I don't know the word, but nevertheless, she was there. She needed to have dialysis. So they had put a temporary IJ in her, a temporary cap in her IJ. And so she was Catholic. She had her Rosemary's and she just didn't want to do dialysis. And in my insides, I'm with her. My kids know I don't want dialysis. I don't want anybody's blood. And I don't want to go on a ventilator. Everybody that knows me knows this. So there should be no issues if I get altered in the head, because, some of these disease processes, you can go septic and you can become altered. So if I'm ever altered and I can't make decisions on my own, everybody that knows me, even if you listen to this video, I don't want to go on dialysis. I don't want a blood transfusion, and I don't want to be on a ventilator. If those 3 things are needed, then DNR me and let me go. Okay, so back to the story, back to my week. So I began to talk to the young lady, and I just explained to her about dialysis. She hadn't been able to eat. She was nauseous. And little bitty old woman, and I explained to her that maybe the reason why she, just talking about food made her want to throw up. I was like, all those toxins in your body, because your kidneys are not working, they're not processing everything out. And so all those toxins are just sitting up in your body. And I was telling her creatinine was I think it was like a 4.98. I mean, a 5.98 or a 5.49, something like that, So I would explain to her, and I'm like, look, Mom, you're going to have to eat. You're going to have to do something. Your body needs some protein. But then I told her, I get it. I understand that, the disease process maybe got you to where you don't want to eat. And this was like Thursday. Then come Friday, same thing. I'm trying to tell her, like, Miss So-and-so, you got to eat. You got to, you got to try this. You got to try to sit up. And I know that, your abs hurt. We can put a pillow in there to sort of kind of, hold it in and make it, make it not feel weird so that you can move around. You got to do this. You got to do that. Baby, she wasn't trying to hear me. That little lady was just as stubborn as a mule. And I get it. I'm stubborn like that too. I think most of us are. We get something in our head, we just stuck with it. So yesterday, all her family was there. I'm talking about her son works at the ER at another part of Baptist. She has a niece that works as a respiratory therapist. She has another nephew that works where I work at, just going to be starting this week or next week or something like that. And then she had a host of family members and friends. And that just blessed my heart, because I love to see patients in the hospital with family members. I can't stand when those family members don't show up for them patients, because as nurses, we just don't have time to sit there and babysit those patients when we have 4 and 5 patients. But it does appear to me that when you have somebody bedside, you get more attention, because those bedside people, they're going to advocate for you. They're going to keep calling you back in there. What is this? And mama's this and that. And so therefore you get more care. You get more attention. So nevertheless, So she told me this yesterday. She told, because her son was sitting on the side of the bed talking to her. And so I said, son, I said, you work in the ED. Did you explain this disease process to your mom? Because sometimes doctors use these big words. Now, I know I'm a nurse, but I don't use big words. But I said, sometimes doctors use these big words and they don't break it down, those bite-sized pieces that we can really understand it. Because I think before I became a nurse, I think that's what happened to me, because there's a lot of things I've learned about myself that I had no idea. Didn't even know to ask the questions to make sense about this type of thing, right? So he said, yes, ma'am, I told her. And so out of the blue, his mom said, my patient said, be quiet. She said, let me tell you something about this nurse. Sandra, you remind me so much of my mother. She said, you are so direct. She said, you are not going to sugarcoat it. She said, I remember my mom told me something, and she said, Mama, can you not sugarcoat it to me? She said her mama told her that is the sugarcoat version, She said, if I said any harder, she said, you're not going to make it. And I told her, I said, I don't mean to come off as abrasive. I really don't. But at this point in my life, this is all I know. All I know is to tell it like I think it T.I. is, right? And all I know how to do is be direct. I mean, if you're in the hospital, or you're ill, or you're going through a situation that can be life-altering, you don't need, oh, baby, it's going to be okay. And because the two situations I went through, it used to vex me. I felt like a roach was crawling on my arm when people would say, saying you strong, it's going to be okay. Pam, she was notorious for saying it. Ro, I mean, like, people that know me, they think I'm so strong and saying you're going to be okay. How do you guys know? And I'm not strong. I'm not strong. Just tell me, Sam, you don't get up out that bed, you don't open them blinds and get some sunshine in here, just tell me raw. Just tell me the truth. And so when she said that to me, it just made me reflect, because I hear it all the time. It's nothing new. I hear it all the time that, some people think I'm mean. Some people think I'm not empathetic. I'm not sympathetic. And I don't heard it all. I thank God I know my name, right? I really do thank God I know my name is Sandra, because people have called me so much, right? And if I listen to it, if I was the type of person to let those words and those voices get in my head, you guys, along with everything else I've been through, I'd be dead by now. Trust me, I would be dead. And so I don't consider myself strong. I'm not tough. I don't know. I'm just here. Fighting day by day, just like everybody else. I'm getting up and putting one foot out the bed, one leg at a time, and standing up and stretching and saying, thank you, Lord, for another day. Thank you, Lord, for another shot. Thank you, Lord, for new grace and new mercy. I'm doing the same thing everybody else doing. I'm waking up. If he allows to wake up, then, as my grandbaby go, thank God for another opportunity, for another chance. But I came on here to say, with all that, with everything that transpired on last week, look at me, a brand new week, Sunday, up, got up, practiced my personal hygiene, putting clothes on, getting ready to hit these streets. So we go through stuff, and in the moment you're sad, I get chest pains, like I get like a buckle, you know what I'm saying? Like it does me like that, and then it just, the tears fall. But I made it. I made it to this week, He brought me. He brought me, He brought me into another week. And so, you live to see another week, and you're just grateful. You're just grateful. Even, thinking about Ruth and her two daughter-in-laws, that one left and, one came with her, and the other one just enjoyed the pleasures of the world. She, didn't want to do it. You can raise your kids. I was thinking about this when I was in the bathroom. You can raise your kids to fear God. I raised my kids in church. I know they got sick of it. We was in church 3, 4, 5 times a week sometime. And I raised my kids in church, just like my grandma raised me. But you can't make these kids stay in church. You put the fear of God in them, and then when they get adults, you pray they don't go back. You pray they don't be like Opal and go back. But if they do, you just continue to pray for them. Because guess what? Somebody prayed for you. I know I'm only here because my grandma Ficklin prayed for me. Sister Austin prayed for me. I know I had some women in my lives that prayed for me, because I don't make so many mistakes. I shouldn't be here. I remember one time, this is no lie, I'm gonna let y'all go. I drank 5 margaritas, those green ones. I drank 5 of them and drove home. Left my car outside. Door was open. This time I had a key to the front door. Key still in the front door. Reggie came over, and the key was still in the front door. and I'm upstairs asleep. He keeps us, y'all. He keeps us. We don't make mistakes too. And so, nobody but Jesus. But I just want to let you guys know I had a terrible week last week, but I thank God for this week. Be encouraged.